Hey there, friends, and welcome to episode 303 of Just the Zoo of Us. This week, I am joined by a birder and science communicator for a review of a little bird full of big surprises. We discuss birding pre-smartphone, Philadelphia's role in ornithological history, the truly wild physiological adaptations that let this tiny songbird brave even mountain rapids, their smooth dance moves, aura farming, and so much more. Just the Zoo of Us presents The American Dipper with Jason Hall. Hi there, everybody. This is Ellen Weatherford with Just the Zoo of Us, your favorite animal review podcast. I'm so excited this week to have a brand new friend to introduce to y'all. If you listen to a lot of other animal and birding related podcasts, maybe not a brand new voice to you today. This week we have Jason Hall. Say hi, Jason.
Hey, everybody.
Jason, what are your pronouns?
My pronouns are he and him.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to talk to you because you have been working on a very, very cool birding podcast that keeps popping up on my Instagram newsfeed. And your clips are always really, really great and really insightful. So Jason, for people who are unfamiliar, maybe are getting to know you for the first time, how did you get into birding? What brought you to birds?
Well, like many people, I have to give credit to a teacher I had in high school, Mr. DeSena at Upper Darby High School in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. And I am a very, very proud nerd. Like, I love all things science. And in high school, I just ate up as many science courses as I could.
And, I couldn't possibly imagine what that would be like.
Completely
unrelatable experience
for
me.
Right? So at the time in school, I was into a lot of chemistry, biochemistry, biology, human anatomy. I wanted to go to med school, and I really was not interested in ecology. I was like, dirt, leaves, super boring. Don't even ask me. Don't ask me what that rock is. I don't know. I don't even care. But I had finished all of my science requirements plus some by the end of my junior year. In my senior year, they were like, hey, you can tag in this other science class that you don't actually need, this environmental science course, or you can take like English literature or something. And I have a distaste for literature courses as well. So I was like, you know what, let me just do the environmental science. We'll see what's what. And
the lesser of two evils at that point.
Yeah, right. I was like, cool, I'll go outside and study rocks and invertebrates in the river and so on and so forth.
Anything not to have to read Faulkner.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Because I was like, this is my senior year. I finished everything. I need to just kind of chill, wear slippers to school and just leave me alone.
You're looking between like some dusty old 800-page book,
I know, right?
And like a rock on the ground. And you're like, all right, rock it is.
Rock it is, right? And there were rocks. But that first unit was bird identification. And this is 2001. So as ancient as that seems for people, cell phones were not that big at the time. Definitely no social media. Did not have all the online tools that you do now.
No Merlin.
And
no iNaturalist.
No iNaturalist. You couldn't go get a DSLR camera or a point and shoot. So you had a sketchbook and a pencil, and the teacher assigned us a 20-yard by 20-yard block, each of us. And he was like, all right, these first 7 weeks, you are just sketching every bird you see. And this is a park right behind my high school, Naylor's Run Park. And I walked through that park every day to go to school. And I never stopped and looked at the birds. And I found myself sketching a tufted titmouse. And
that's a fun one to sketch.
Oh, man. And I remember being like, wait a minute, I know about a cardinal. You know, the cardinal's got the crest and everything. And I'm sketching this one, though. And I'm like, that eye is so big. And, you know, we had binoculars and these are block courses. So 90 minutes, 7:30 a.m. I'm just out there sketching birds for 7 weeks as a 17-year-old. And I was just like, I don't know why this is making me feel so good. You know, you see different species and you're like, oh man. And that's how it started. And it became just this thing that I knew I could do. And it was kind of I don't know, in college, it was kind of like a fun thing. People knew about me that if they went out with me on a hike or something, I was going to call out birds, but I didn't know really what a birder was at that point. And so that's how it started. That's how it started. It went on its own journey. College was college. So birding probably wasn't my primary focus for those 4 years. But after I graduated school, somebody bought me a camera as a gift, and I took a picture of some brown-headed cowbirds outside of my apartment window and thought I was going to be on the cover of Nat Geographic. So
an underrated bird, I will say.
Absolutely.
Gets a lot of hate.
Absolutely.
A fascinating bird.
I mean, are there times where I look at my children and I'm like, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I'll drop your ass off in somebody's nest. But like that part of it, just that wonder of being like, oh, I can take a picture of this bird and it's right outside my window and I can go read about it. And it's been a deepening journey as every year goes on.
It feels really grounding and centering, I feel like. Like it feels like a great way to really like connect a lot more deeply with like your immediate surroundings in a way that especially, which probably wasn't as much the case in 2001, but now, especially when you're spending so much time like in virtual spaces or really not paying a lot of attention to like your physical surroundings. Mm-hmm. I was going to ask, like, how does it feel to you having gotten into bird identification and bird watching in a time where it was so much more tactile and so much more like, analog, having to like sketch. Mm-hmm. And now getting into bird watching is pretty easy.
It's digital.
There's
digital
apps
activity
on your phone.
Yeah,
you can go outside having never, you don't need field guides. You don't need any of that stuff. You can go outside with a couple of apps on your phone and, get very similar results. What are your feelings about like how getting into bird watching has changed?
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of the birders that I started to know early on in my birding career are 10, 15 years older than me, sometimes 20, 25 years older than me. So what I think is analog, they think was super, advanced.
They're like, we had to etch it into clay tablets with a stylus.
I had to carve this into a stone on the side of a mountain, look up on my hieroglyphs, of the brown-headed cowbird. But I appreciate having started like that because it just gave me kind of a range of understanding. And it also gives me the ability to tell people like, hey, I know even if you download Merlin or you have eBird or you have Sibley Bird app or whatever it is, like it can still be pretty overwhelming, right? And so one thing we try to tell people is like, hey, when we're out birding, you may not see every bird and you got to be okay with that, right? And that's the one thing about analog birding when you started that you had to get used to really early because all you had most of the time, if you were a newbie birder back then, say in the 90s, is a sketchbook, right? Maybe you had some photography stuff going on, but like, again, it wasn't that rampant. So yeah, I tell people use it as another place to go connect, right? And so, yeah, you can get Merlin, you can get all the apps, you can get your bird guide, you can get a camera, you can do all these things. I went through a period where I couldn't go birding without my camera, and it became like a sickness. Like I had to get the shot, And if I didn't get the shot, I was bummed out.
That's devastating. Or you got the shot and it was like just barely out of focus.
Oh, the worst. Right?
Or like the foot was in focus and the rest of it wasn't.
Yeah. I'm like, come on. This is going to lose me like 10 Facebook likes now because I didn't get this picture in focus. Like it was devastating to a young birder. But what I ended up doing was just trying to say like, hey, like then I'm sad coming home after birding because I didn't get the shot. And like, that's not what it's about. So I ended up going through about a year where I just left my camera at home and I just took my binoculars and I just kind of got back to, well, I'm just going to see what I'm going to see, and I'm going to hear what I'm going to hear and I'm just going to experience it. And like you said before, like it does ground you. So I end up looking for a bird and, there's a fluffy raccoon bum in a hole in a tree, right? Yeah. Or there's a deer, or look at those fish in there. Like I noticed the kingfisher, but what is the kingfisher going after? And then you notice some of the little minnows or whatever they are in the stream. So analog birding, people should always keep in their back pocket, even if you start digitally. I definitely advise people to like get a sketchbook or a little notebook and just try it. Just try it a couple times to not turn your phone on and just see what's what,
And one of the things you mentioned also was like using it as a way to connect, like to foster connection. And one of the things that you have been working on is a really great way for people to connect with each other through birding, which is the In Color Birding Club. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So after high school, after college, I'm birding in and around Philadelphia. For a long time, the only black birder I'm aware of, right, in this region. And birding at that point is pre-COVID, so it still hasn't really taken off like it has now. And 2020 was 2020. It was a rough year for a lot of us. There were some things happening out there in terms of the safety of black and brown people. And additionally to that, Christian Cooper was accosted in Central Park, and he had his experience, and a group of great graduate students and other black birders from around the country started something called Black Birders Week in 2020. And I attended that and realized that we are a much larger community than we thought. And I spent about a year trying to figure out what I was going to do to contribute, because I was just so inspired by those students and the digital thing they put on in the middle of COVID, the digital, essentially first ever Black Birders Festival.
It was like all over the country too. There was like events all over the country.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. And like the fact that they pulled that off, I think with less than 30 days of planning, was amazing. And so I spent a year thinking about it. And Philadelphia is, I will die on this hill, Philadelphia is the best birding city in the country. And I will take any comers on that.
I know quite a few people from Philadelphia who are like extremely into birding.
Yeah. So I will say, like, not only do we got the chops right now, we got people around here now that will give you a run for your money in terms of being really good birders. But historically, we've had a lot of famous ornithologists come through here, right? Charles Peale, Wilson, Audubon is from this region, has a couple houses here, notwithstanding his history.
Our local Audubon chapter has changed their name.
Have they? Yeah, good.
It's Birds Connect Seattle now.
Let's go, Birds Connect
name.
Seattle. Let's go. It's a lovely name. We're still working on a couple of the chapters around here to see if they can make the switch. A couple of them have already, actually. But you look at that, we have one of the, I think either first or second oldest ornithological club in the country, the Delaware Valley Ornithological Club. So Philly is deep, right? We are deep in history. And unfortunately, if you look around that, though, you don't see a lot of outreach, or you didn't in 2020, to black and brown communities in and around Philly. So I was like, you know what? Let me start a bird club that specifically is for those communities and their allies that want to make sure that those communities can experience this joy that I find with birds often. And so I had a couple friends, Jeff and Angela, that I first talked to about it, sitting in a cafe, and they, before I even finished my statement, they were like, tell us what you want us to do. They were a couple of some of my dearest birding friends. And then we found some of our other board members through shared collective activity, Nicole, Katrina, Bernie. And we were the founding six, essentially. And we got it off the ground in 2021 and got our nonprofit status in 2022, and have been leading bird outings and bird field trips and education and sponsoring buses and just doing as much as we can to kind of uplift this community since then.
That's amazing. What are some cool birds that you've seen with your group?
Well, a lot. Every bird is cool, right? Every bird is cool.
Every bird is cool.
The birds that I remember the most are the birds that have the most impact on the humans that I'm with, right? So I think most typical birders they're gonna talk about the most rare bird they've seen with the group, or so on and so forth. But really, for me, the things I think about are taking a group of students to this place called John Hines National Wildlife Refuge, the first urban refuge in the country, just to the south of the city. Wow. And I got a bunch of, I think, 4th or 5th grade students, and they've never gone birding. They've never really paid attention. They don't even think eagles exist around here.
Oh,
yeah.
Like don't think they would see them around.
Okay, yeah. Like they don't realize like they're here. Same thing with some of the other birds. And I'm telling them before we get out into this marsh about this great blue heron, right? And I'm like, it's one of the biggest birds. I know they're going to see one. And I'm like, yeah, it's about as tall as you guys. They pretty much eat anything. They're like little dinosaurs. They stab fish. They eat frogs. And I didn't realize at the time that I was kind of making them sound kind of scary.
They hunt in packs.
Yeah, right. Like I love dinosaurs too, right? Which is a whole different episode. But like, I'm talking about it, and we get out onto this boardwalk, and I'm showing them the great blue herons, and they're all in the distance, and one of them takes off, and they fly kind of low, and it's just going to another spot in the marsh, and it like buzzes right over top of their head, only like 10 feet off the boardwalk, and they all duck down like it's, about to get them, and they're screaming and freaking out. And I didn't, at first it took me a minute to figure out what was going on. But after it happened, you could see they all were just had these huge smiles on their faces. They were so exhilarated. I don't know if it was fear or what, but like that experience, right? That big bird flying right over your head, like, and that bird is less than 20 minutes from the neighborhood you live in. And, you know, so that, and at that same place, one time we had a least bittern, which are some of my favorite birds, right?
They're so cute.
They're so cute, and they're little, and they do this little like wobbly thing where they shake back and forth to try and, you know, kind of hide sometimes and move with the grass or the spatter dock that they're hanging out in. And we had one time that was right off the boardwalk, and the way it was moving just made you think of like a nice club song, right? It was just kind of thumping and moving, like everybody's cracking up, and like people were starting to beatbox over it. Like it was just, you know, and like, you know, the bird was cool, but the other people around that was their first time seeing one, it made them smile. It's going to be a memory. So like, when I'm out with that group, those are the special birds to me, the birds that really make an impact on the people that I'm with.
Going out to look at birds with kids, it's different because, yes, they are very noisy. Something we have to remind our kids a lot is like the noisier you are, the fewer birds you're going to see because you're going to scare them away. But also like the feedback, the immediate feedback you get and the out of pocket things that they say at every opportunity.
It's incredible.
Hilarious. It's
incredible.
Even about like little birds, like little starlings and stuff that you see everywhere. They've always got something to say, and it is great.
They do. They ask the greatest questions, like, you know, and the thing I love too about kids is like, even if they're noisy, right? I tell them sometimes like, hey, until they learn how to love being in the outdoors and looking for nature, you kind of have to let them be noisy. You have to let them figure out how to be themselves first, and then they can kind of pull themselves back. I had 4 kids yesterday on a bird walk, and they were not interested in the birds, but man, the turtles, they lost their mind, right? And
there's something for everybody.
Yeah, they're like asking me, what should we call the turtle? I'm like, Bob. They're like, no, that's a stupid name. No offense to Bobs out there. You know, and they're coming up with these amazing names and asking what the turtle eats and how deep does it go. And I'm trying to explain brumation and what happens in the winter. And they're like, wait, so they breathe through their bums? And I'm like, yes.
That's the thing. And that's like, what kids like.
Yeah, like, and I, you know. And so, like, you know, kids are just incredible to be out with because they have this fresh perspective. It's like, like I wish I could be back at that point where I had never seen a northern cardinal before. And I see one for the first time, right? Because sometimes when they put those binoculars up and they get that intimacy with a big red bird, like it's just, that's like the juice, right? Like that, man, if I could bottle that stuff. Oof.
You can witness the neuron activation.
Yeah. I just, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it.
It's great. So the bird we wanted to talk about today, the bird we want to focus on, is actually a bird that, to my knowledge, I've never seen. I have not met this gentleman. So I'm excited for the introduction. Could you please introduce me to the American dipper? Who is this lovely creature?
The American dipper. So if you are wondering, if you're thinking in your head, like, what could this be?
I'm thinking Dipper from Gravity Falls.
Okay. Oh, solid show. Solid pull there. I didn't even connect those two.
I wonder if he's named after the bird. I wonder. Maybe.
It could be. I'm going to have to go consult my 8-year-old and see. But the American dipper, Cinclus mexicanus, is one of 5 dipper species. And in North America, the American dipper is the only aquatic songbird. So I want people to imagine.
That doesn't seem like where songbirds go.
No, it does not, right? It does not. This is why it's one of my favorite birds. And I've only seen them like a few times in my life. It's not like it's a bird I have outside my back door here in Pennsylvania.
It's 100% times more than me.
Yeah, hey, there you go, right? So now you have something to look forward to, right? Because they are in your region.
Really?
So they are mostly on the West Coast in those states. They kind of come down, not all the way into the basin there in the Southwest where the mountains stop, but they like elevations. They like fast-moving water. They are little, essentially brown homies. What's the word that Merlin describes them as? Plump.
Oh,
little.
That's
plump
pleasant.
Songbirds, and I love the word plump. Right,
yes.
It makes me think of Sunday mornings and apple pie and very sweet little old ladies, and
It sounds onomatopoetic. It sounds like the sound it would make if it fell into your hand.
Yes.
Plump.
Yes, yes, but in like a nice way, like a very enjoyable plump.
Yes.
And they are little brown birds. The ones that we have here are mostly brownish, a little kind of grayish, and they are called American dippers. And one reason because they kind of bounce up and down on their legs. They dip when they're kind of on the rocks, so they'll just drop down And if you are old enough and you've ever listened to Juvenile, right, he has a particular song that you could dub over this, but that's just for the parents listening. But they dip, right? And they also swim, and they have a bunch of different strategies. So what they eat are these little invertebrates under the water. So they like this fast-moving water, either fast-moving water that is moving out to the ocean or fast-moving water that is not connected to the ocean, but usually higher up in a little bit of elevation.
We have a lot of meltwater, like where
perfect.
like the snow and the ice on the mountains melts and runs down the mountain and like into valleys and stuff. So we have some like meltwater streams and stuff.
Well, you have an assignment now. You have to go to eBird. You have to go to eBird. You have to look up American Dipper sightings near you, and you got to go on a little adventure. Okay.
I got to find this dude. He's waiting for me.
Yes, he is.
Hi, it's me editing. I am happy to report that since we recorded this episode, I have now seen an American Dipper. I was hiking at Twin Falls Trail with my sister and her boyfriend and my oldest son, and while we took a little detour to walk down by the South Fork of the Snoqualmie River, I saw, standing on a rock, just like Jason said, an American Dipper. And yes, it was bobbing up and down, and yes, it was adorable, and I took 1,000 pictures. And I have to thank Jason for telling me about this bird, because I think if we hadn't already had this conversation about how cool these birds are, I probably would not have noticed it at all. But since I had a deeper appreciation for them already, I was overjoyed to see them in action. Highly recommend. Okay, back to the episode.
And so they swim in a bunch of different ways. So they will actually submerge themselves fully underwater. They will jump off a rock and dive down, and they'll flip over a rock on the bottom, and they'll eat some little magfly or invertebrate, and that's how they pretty much eat. Sometimes they'll catch small fish, and one thing they'll do is they'll bring them up and they'll kind of shake them around like a rag doll or beat them against something until they can eat them. They nest on kind of cliff areas, so anywhere near that fast-flowing water, right, they'll make a nest out of moss and sticks and mud sometimes, right, but because it's near water, it's got to kind of hold up, and it's a very, very small space inside there, so like 2 to 3 inches, right, but they'll kind of raise their young in there. Their young, when they're born, can start swimming immediately. They can't fly. They can't feed themselves. But man, they could jump to that water.
So put me in, coach. I'm ready.
Right? Like it's absolutely incredible.
High priority item for them.
Right. Yeah. Like you kind of got to know how to do that, right? Coming off the jump. So little birds, and they have a beautiful song. So these are incredible birds. They have a nice big song, but they don't always sing as much as most songbirds, but they do sing, and that might be just because of their proximity to loud water, right? And so maybe they don't need to, but their song does carry. My first one that I ever saw was in a place called Island Park, Idaho, and I was hiking around by myself. I remember because I was wearing my favorite purple flannel shirt. And I had just seen a moose for the first time, which was also great.
Oh, my gosh.
And I come around this corner, and there's this little bird on a log, and it's just bouncing up and down. And I'm like, what is this thing, right? And
you're like, this is already great.
Yeah.
Just the bobbing itself.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's incredible. And then it dives into the water, and I'm like, whoa, wait, what? And then it just pops right back out. And this is like not soft, like this is like heavy flowing water. Like it just disappeared in the suds and then popped back up on the log and ate something. So they're incredible birds. The fact that they're the only aquatic songbird makes me appreciate them so much because it's, they're different,
Yeah.
And I love that about people.
Because this is such a unique approach to life, I think, for a songbird. Are they like related to any other songbirds? Do they have cousins?
So originally they thought they were wrens, which
I can see it.
You can kind of see it.
I can see it.
Kind of see it. Wrens aren't as plump as the dipper, But then they thought they were more related to thrushes like robins and stuff like that. And now it looks like they're most closely related actually to starlings.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay, I can see that too a little bit.
Me too. I can see a plump starling evolving to fish in water, right, or eat out of the water. And so that the species we have here actually evolved, they think, from species in Europe. So I think it's the white-throated dipper in Europe. So they have a common ancestor. There's some other species. There's a couple more. There's one in South America. There's some in Asia. I think there's one in Africa as well. So I think they're the latest subspecies, at least on this side of the hemisphere, to evolve, or species.
this is like a minor, not super related note, but up here in the Pacific Northwest, we have a type of thrush. I'm struggling to remember the name of it right now, but it has the wildest song. It has this like spiraling sounding song that kind of like spirals upward. And we were camping not too long ago. And right in the evening hours and in the very early morning hours, this like they were everywhere. They were singing, and it was so much like in the Hunger Games, in that like Hunger Games movie, where like they had the like bird songs that were like, you know, they're everywhere, and it kind of becomes like a little scary. It's like a horror kind of scene, and it had that. Was it called a
varied thrush?
Varied thrush. Quick correction here. It was the Swainson's thrush I was thinking of, not the varied thrush. The song of the varied thrush is so pretty, and it's wild.
It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Imagine hearing that, but like 1,000 times everywhere in every possible direction all over you for like 2 hours.
That sounds heavenly. As long as I had a snack and a good place to sit, like, man.
We had hot dogs and s'mores and stuff. So we were made.
Oh, that sounds so lovely. I had
nice.
I had an experience last summer, 2 summers ago or springs ago. We had a Bicknell's thrush, which migrate from Alaska down through to the south. We had one stop in Pennsylvania near me, and I went to go find it, and it was cool. We found it, but as we were walking there, we had a bunch of Swainson's thrushes singing in the forest, and I had never experienced that near where I live. And like, I was just like, I don't even care about the Bicknell's thrush. Like, this just cacophony in this forest just sounds heavenly. So thrushes are amazing.
It's a gorgeous sound.
Yeah, and it lets you appreciate American robins more because they're thrushes, right? And so you understand now why they sing like that at 5 a.m., right? It's in their DNA, right? They are related to the Swainson's thrushes, and just some idiot named it Robin when they came over here from Europe.
Yeah, because they're like, you look the same color.
Yeah, you got kind of
bird,
an
right?
orangish thing on your belly and your chest. Sure, that works.
There's only one bird like that.
Oh, obviously.
So if this is anyone's first time listening to Just the Zoo of Us, our whole deal is we rate animals out of 10 in different categories. And the first category is aesthetics. This is physical adaptations, things that the animal has built into their body to let them do the things they're trying to do. Jason, what would you give the American Dipper out of 10 for effectiveness?
Oh, I mean, I got to give it like a 9 because nobody else can do it.
Nobody's doing it like the Dipper.
Yeah. I mean,
never let them know your next move.
That's right. Like, I mean, if you look at other aspects of our life, of our existence, like things that are unique, that are doing things that no other thing is doing, right? You got to give them credit, right? At least as a species on their ability to adapt. And so to be able to have the ability to sing a song like the Dipper, to move like the Dipper, to hunt like the Dipper, and adapt it to some of these spaces, like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like some of these other songbirds could never. They could never.
They wish they could.
They wish they could, right? And so for me, I got to give it a 9 just because nobody else is doing that in North America. They will walk through water and dip their head under. They have a nictitating membrane, which if you know anything about, I think alligators, crocodiles, right? They have this other membrane that comes over their eyeball so they can see underwater. So they have one of those. And then one of the cool facts is they have a enlarged sphincter around their eye muscles, around their eyes, so they can change the shape of their eyes to see through water.
Whoa.
You know how when you look at water from above it, it changes the angle, the way the light is coming in, so the thing is not actually where you think it is. It's maybe 2 inches further.
Yeah.
Right? They can change the shape of their eyeball to judge that, which I thought was incredible, right?
That is wild.
Yeah.
For a second, it took me a second to remember that the word sphincter can apply to many parts of the body.
It sure can. That's right. We have all kinds of sphincters. That's, not the one that's about the business all the time.
Not just the butthole.
That's right, yeah. Yep. There's actually a number of them throughout your digestive system if you want to look them up.
Anyone who's played Baldur's Gate may recall that Baldur's Gate 3 may recall that right in the beginning of the game, there's quite a few doorways that you have to get through that are labeled sphincters. So like literally in the tutorial of the game, I've been playing this game for 30 seconds and I have to go through a sphincter. And I'm like, this is so much so fast.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of other birds that specialize in diving.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of cormorants up here.
Sure.
We have grebes that like to dive. We have, back in Florida, we had anhingas, which I love those very much. Anhingas, if you've ever watched an anhinga like swimming underwater.
Oh, it's incredible. It looks like a dinosaur. Like, it's so wild.
And they like splay their feathers behind them. So it looks incredible. I've seen cormorants out up here in the Northwest. I've seen cormorants in the Puget Sound. But all of those birds, first of all, they're much bigger, I feel like, than the dipper. And they have like a lot of sort of musculature around their like chest that helps them kind of like, because swimming through water, it's going to be a lot harder than flying through the air.
Moving water, too.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, because you mentioned this is like rapids,
like
basically.
them other birds are hanging out. I mean, it's waves, but it's not it's not a rapid you're going to get caught in.
Yeah.
You know?
Are dippers like, are they like strong? They don't look particularly jacked, I guess is what I'm getting at.
I think, I don't know about the amount of body mass in their breast muscles, right? Which is usually, they do use their wings when they're diving, I know, just to get some depth. But they also use their feet, right? And I think they're strong enough, right? But I also think they are, just from my own personal viewing of them, they're like masters of the flow of the water, right? So, like a surfer, you look at a wave and you're like, that is massive and that could kill me. And it's just so much weight and movement and energy, but then you watch a surfer ride it like it's nothing, or a turkey vulture riding the wind, right? Where they don't flap their wings, but they know how to manipulate the air in a way that just lets them do what they got to do. So that's how I think about the dipper. Like, I'm not sure if it's a lot of muscle or just they've learned how to manipulate the way the water flows to do what they got to do.
It's a sleeper build.
It is, right? They're at the gym with the full sweatpants suit on,
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, it's light work. This class 5 rapid is light work.
I just, like, within the last few weeks, learned what a pump cover is.
Oh, yeah.
And that's pretty funny to me.
You got to wait until the blood is flowing before you take off the hoodie. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I can't, you're not ready for this.
Not yet.
You're not ready.
Not yet. I got to get a couple of veins bulging out of the neck first,
Build suspense.
Yeah. I like to rock my pump cover at the local Planet Fitness near me.
Yeah.
Not that anybody cares, but
I'm a Planet Fitness girly.
All right.
But also I refuse to make eye contact with anybody else at the gym because I just don't want to know anyone else exists. And I figure as long as I don't look at other people, I assume they also can't see me.
Yeah, which is terrible at the Planet Fitness because there's mirrors everywhere, and it's like it's like either I watch that or I'm like forced to watch something on a news channel or something on the TV. So.
No, you want to know what the hack is? You watch anime on your phone on the treadmill.
That's solid.
Every single time.
I
have finished Demon Slayer. I finished Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Ooh,
I'm working on Jujutsu Kaisen. I watch so much anime on the treadmill, and people will be like, "Oh, I can't imagine why people want to run on the treadmill. Running outside, run outside. It's so much more fun. I don't understand why people run on the treadmill." I'm like, you know what I hate doing? Running.
Yeah.
You know what I love doing? Watching anime.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the same way. I like a good documentary on something, especially something like old and decrepit or like abandoned, and they're like, yeah, this used to be a bunker in some war. I love that kind of stuff.
I need anime because I need high stakes.
Yeah, sure. Understood. I don't know as much about anime other than my son running through the house screaming at stuff after he's watched some and pretending he's fighting it and what is he calling it? Like powering up.
That's the treadmill energy. That's what you need when you're on the treadmill.
Up like somebody. I'm like, okay, bud, just calm down. I don't need to go to urgent care again.
That's me at Planet Fitness every day. Anyway, I did want to point out something about the American Dipper that I found I was looking at pictures, and can I tell you what really is surprising to me? They don't have webbed feet.
No, but they make it work.
Right? That's what I'm saying. That's so interesting to me.
Right? And that's what I'm saying. They use their wings sometimes too. But they also have, like, you think of them, if you ever see them normally on the videos, you'll see them diving into the water and then popping up, right? But they also will swim on top of the water, kind of like a duck.
That's
right?
nice.
So like that part looks extra weird because it does absolutely look like a songbird swimming on top of the water. They'll wade in the water and stick their head underneath. They'll sometimes even fly catch where they're not in the water, but they fly up in the air and hover to catch different insects. So like they're a dipper. That's what they're known for, but they can do the whole thing, right? They can forage along the edge of the bank for bugs, right? So like the dipping is just their most notable adaptation, I think.
Duck software on songbird hardware.
Yeah. They got a bunch of stuff going on. I wouldn't be surprised if a whole episode of Ancient Aliens was like, yeah, the American Dipper was made by aliens. Yeah.
It was made by aliens who like had never really met a bird, but had like read about a bunch of birds and were like, here's some things birds do.
This'll work. Nice song.
Put them all in one bird, I guess.
Swim, dive, fly catch, bounce up and down, right? And I have a soft spot for any bird that bounces up and down. So like those birds, spotted sandpipers are some of my favorite, right? Any bird I can dub some like Nicki Minaj music over the top of when I take a video is for me.
Do they do the head stabilization that other bobbing birds do? That's
I don't
fantastic.
know. That's a good question because that's also incredible, right?
This head stabilization makes it for me. I'm like, that's great. That's exactly what I want.
Yeah, I love those videos of the like some of the birds of prey. Right, when they're hovering and you can see their whole body moving, but their head is staying still.
Or you could do this with a chicken, where you just hold it and you just move the chicken's body around and the head stays completely still.
Yes, I have a whole series. I think my Instagram algorithm is tuned into that young lady that does that with the chickens and has them dancing to different music, which is incredible.
Instagram's like, we know what you're about. We know what you're here for.
They know what's up.
You want the head stabilized chickens.
Yeah. And the dipper... I just think it's just an incredible, adaptable bird. One thing I do enjoy, I don't know where I was reading it, but it said as they get excited about stuff, they dip more and faster. Oh. And I was like, I understand, right?
They get hyped.
In my early 20s, I've been in the club, right? And, the right song comes on, right? Or, the right person walks up to you that you're attracted to and you're like, I got to bust a move, And so like, I love those kind of things about their behavior that if you have the opportunity to sit in, creekside or riverside and watch one of them that you can find some connection with,
I was literally, because I wanted to look at pictures and I just pulled up the Wikipedia page for dippers and I just was looking at like, they've got the white-throated dipper, they've got the American dipper on here. And I just came across a sentence that says, the high hemoglobin concentration in their blood gives them a capacity to store oxygen greater than that of other birds, allowing them to remain underwater for 30 seconds or more.
That's incredible.
While their basal metabolic rate is approximately 1/3 slower than typical terrestrial passerines, so songbirds, of similar mass. So it seems like they've really
Isn't that
taken
incredible?
this adaptation into it's in there. It's literally in their blood.
And that's an adaptation that other creatures that are not birds have, right? Creatures that are aquatic, right? We talked about the turtles, right? Or other hummingbirds, right? That they can slow down their basal metabolic rate, right? Depending on temperature or food supply or if they're sleeping or whatever, right? Some of these animals in colder weather that can do that in order to save energy, right? And so you think about, again, ancient aliens theory on the American Dipper, like they were just like, yep, this seems about right. I read something too that they will not, they're not big like seasonal migrants in terms of like going from north to south or anything, but they will go from high altitudes to low altitudes depending on different things. I think, in the summertime, they'll come down lower for breeding, but then go back up in the fall. Or in the winter, if the water freezes over, they will come down. But they were like, the water freezing over isn't always a reason for them to move. Some of them were tracked in Alaska in minus 50-degree weather.
Jeez.
Sticking it through for the whole winter and just finding a little hole in the river and dropping down and doing what they got to do. So like that part to me is super interesting of like, not only did they adapt to this, but they were like, nah, we going to stand on business here. And we're not going to be, like these thrushes and migrate down south in the wintertime because we know how to survive, and so
we're committing to the bit.
Right. So like a little bird like that saying, nah, in the most harsh environment, when the grizzly bears have to go to sleep in the cave, we out here,
They're like, I made my choice.
Yeah.
My choice was to go in the water.
That's
and
right.
by God, I'm going in the water.
I'm going in the water. And I'm going to look good doing it, It's my favorite.
Hey there, we're going to take a quick break to hear from a couple of the other shows on the Maximum Fun Network. When we get back, we're talking ingenuity and aesthetics for the American Dipper, so stay with us.
You know, we've been doing My Brother, Me for 15 years, and maybe you stopped listening for a while, maybe you never listened, and you're probably assuming 3 white guys talking for 15 years, I know where this has ended up. But no, you would be wrong. We're as shocked as you are that we have not fallen into some sort of horrific scandal or just turned into a big crypto thing. Yeah, we don't even really know how crypto works.
The only NFTs I'm into are naughty, funny things, which is what we talk about on My Brother, and Me.
We serve it up every Monday for you if you're listening, and if not, we just leave it out back until it goes rotten. So check it out on Maximum Fun or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, we're over 70 episodes into our show. Let's learn everything. So let's do a quick progress check. Have we learned about quantum physics?
Yes, episode 59.
We haven't learned about the history of gossip yet, have we?
Yes, we have. Same episode, actually.
Have we talked to Tom Scott about his love of roller coasters?
Episode 64.
So how close are we to learning everything?
Bad news. We still haven't learned everything yet.
We're ruined!
No, it's good news as well. There is still a lot to learn.
Woo!
I'm Dr. Ella Hubber.
I'm regular Tom Lum.
I'm Caroline Roper, and on Let's Learn Everything, we learn about science and a bit of everything else too.
And although we haven't learned everything yet, I've got a pretty good feeling about this next episode.
Join us every other Thursday on Maximum Fun.
The second category that we rate animals on is ingenuity. You know, we've talked a lot about their behaviors and, you know, things that they're actively doing, ways that they're navigating their environment and solving problems that they face. Jason, what do you give American Dippers out of 10 for ingenuity?
Oh, when I think of ingenuity, right, like to me, it's finding interesting ways to survive, right? And so I give them probably an 8. Just because of the diversity of their, well, no, you know what? Let me change that. Probably a 6.5. All right.
Okay.
So hear me out.
We just spent a long time hyping this up.
I know. But if you think about the totality of places they could find food or find ways to adapt, right? Like to me, it's about the things they do to ensure their own survival, kind of on an individual basis, right? So they can eat small fish, they can eat invertebrates, right? But they can't necessarily do that outside of the environment those rivers, right? So like an American Dipper couldn't handle saltwater, right? Or the ocean, you know.
A little specialized.
Yeah. And although they do have a diverse array of food that is sourced from that water source, the stream, right? Or the river, they can't eat berries, right? They're not eating nuts, it sounds like. So very high protein and fat diets. And I just don't think, you know, I don't think they've figured that part out yet to really branch beyond that. So, you know, but I still give them the 6.5 because ingenuity in terms of how they build their nests, right? Like on these kind of cliff faces, close to their water source, their babies can jump right in and start swimming. Like I think that's really cool. But
are the babies cute?
Yeah, they are absurd, as my friends like to say. Like they
so
are
cute.
just Definitely Google that, people, if you've not seen Dipper babies.
I'm gonna Google that when we get into aesthetics.
Okay.
Because I'll do a live react.
Yeah. So ingenuity is 6.5. I just think because they can't get past those mountain streams with what they do have equipped, even though it's great for the streams, it you know, they can't really go much further.
I would also worry about, with them being like so specialized, I would worry about what that would mean with changing landscapes.
Sure.
And like, even though I think that it sounds like where they're at in these, you know, high elevation mountain streams, those aren't usually so much at risk of things like, you know, we see in the Pacific Northwest, we see big problems with salmon, which also rely on running water. And they have seen a ton of disruption from dams and, you know, just the like agriculture that changes the landscape and changes the flow of rivers. So we see a lot of those problems in animals that rely on a specific ecosystem or a very specific like circumstance.
Sure.
So I wonder if that's something that the Dipper is facing, like a problem that they're facing.
Well, certainly the removal of the dams is I think, helpful in terms of having more running water, better ways to kind of manage. So I did read that sometimes the excess salmon populations can reduce the quality of the water for the dipper, even though they have been seen eating salmon eggs, right? Which is another ability for them within that habitat. But they do actually, I was reading that they enjoy making nests on man-made bridges, right?
Oh.
And even on dams or even other kind of beaver dams as well, right? So like they can adapt to a lot of things that are happening within their water. The one thing they don't seem to be able to adapt to is the actual pollution of their water, right? And so runoff from mines, fracking, all kinds of other things, they will very quickly abandon those things if that water source is not great. And my assumption there is that the quality of the water dictates the availability of food in these invertebrates, right? And that's what they would, come out of. But they are not endangered. They're not of major concern. I think they're listed as least concern. But if you love dippers, advocating for the quality of those water spaces that run through your towns and neighborhoods is going to be key, right? So,
Right.
Big oil comes in there and wants to start fracking. You may want to have a couple choice words.
Protect your parks also.
That's right.
Up
That's
here
right.
in the Northwest, we're facing some challenges to our parks.
Sure.
And a lot of those parks are mountains. So, there's been some eyeballing them for like additional timber logging.
Yeah.
They're looking at, doing more conversion of parklands into industrial lands. So all those charismatic animals that we love, like dippers, but also, like our bears and our salmon and things like that. All of it, it's kind of a cascade, right? That like, you mess with one area and you see these ripple effects that just branch out everywhere. And
Yeah. Speaking of that, like one of the things I would love to see the most, right? I've never seen a grizzly bear, and I've always wanted to go to one of those places where the grizzly bears are fishing the salmon in the water. Can you imagine watching a grizzly bear grab a salmon and then looking to your left and seeing a dipper just pop in and out of the water at the same time? Like that whole scene right there sounds incredible for me. I'm going to have to figure out how to make that happen.
can you imagine that? Like, well, I almost had like a mental image in my head of like the dipper like fighting with the bear. But like it's a salmon, right? Like clearly they're not going to be after the same thing.
Sure.
But I was like, wouldn't it be funny if the dipper was like, "Hey, give me that back"?
I mean, the dippers do eat salmon eggs, so I know that's a favorite of the grizzly bears as well. They'll kind of smash them open and eat the eggs, and then sometimes throw the rest of the fish back. So maybe a few.
Oh, so they're helping.
Yeah, so maybe a few residual eggs get, a dipper can just kind of clean up a little bit, which is another adaptation within that environment it might have, right? Of just like this kind of now scavenger kind of idea, right? Of just picking up after the grizzly bear.
Yeah, or like hanging out near the bears.
I wonder. See, somebody's got to get some grant write-ups for that so we can go study dippers and salmon eggs and bears.
That would be a great way for you to fund your goal of seeing seeing grizzly bears and dippers together.
That'd be incredible.
That would be a great way to be like, oh yeah, I'm doing a study on dipper and bear symbiosis or something.
That's right.
You're like, I just really want to see a grizzly bear.
I know, right? Yeah, that would be incredible. That would be a scene I would not want to leave.
Well, that kind of brings us to our final category that we rate animals on, which is aesthetics. How nice is this animal to look at? Whether they're cute or pretty or cool, however you interpret that, what would you give the American Dipper out of 10 for aesthetics?
See, this is where I have struggled with some of your previous guests and their rankings on some things. I know this is
the most arbitrary.
I know. In terms of aesthetics, it really is based on what you find to be enjoyable as an individual, right?
Right.
I would say the Dipper for me is probably a 7, a 7 at most, right?
I will say they don't photograph great.
No.
Because when you take a photo, you lose the behavior, the charismatic behavior.
Sure.
Like just a picture of one just sitting there, you're like, okay, it's a little bird. But like what they're doing is like the cool thing about them. So I think they don't photograph that well.
No, they don't. And they're little and brown and gray. And so compared to, some of the more, I'll say, visually charismatic birds, right? They don't hold a lot, right? But that's why I don't give them like a 5 or a 4 because they can dip. And like that part, as someone who loves to dance, I love that.
Yeah.
I love the way they move, like generally, not just the dipping, but the swimming, right? And so like aesthetically, it's not just how they look in a photo or their colors. It's their overall aura, right? That's the words that the kids are using.
Or
these
yeah,
days,
they're aura
right?
farming.
Yes.
They're aura farming.
Yeah, there's other, yes. So like that's what I enjoy about them, right? It's like they have all these incredible adaptations, but they're not arrogant about it. They're
It's
not
the
like,
Riz.
yeah, you know, like they're just
They
like,
got
this is
Riz.
what I do. Like, I don't have to have a bright throat like one of these hummingbirds on the West Coast. You know, I don't have to have this bright plumage like some of my homies in South America, right? Like, I just dip, bro. That's it.
Like it speaks for itself.
Yeah. You know, like
Effort. It's an effortless sort of.
like
energy.
I want a T-shirt that just says "I just dip," with like an American dipper on it. Like, so there's people that know, like this is just what I do, you know. So I give it about a 7 on the scale of little brown birds, but there's no other little brown bird that does it like this one.
They also, because I was like, how would you be able to tell this from any other bird if you just saw it without the context of it swimming around? They
true.
do have an adorable nubby little tail.
They do.
The little tail is a little
They
nub.
do. It is a nub. And it's great, right? And like nubby-tailed birds are some of the best birds. Like one of my other favorites is like a winter wren. If you've ever seen it, I think you guys have Pacific wrens. But it's this little nub and they stick it straight up, right? And dippers kind of remind me of that, which is why I can understand. Maybe the nubby tail was why they thought they were related to wrens for a while, you know,
I could
before
see
they
it.
got
The shape.
genetics. Yeah.
The shape, like the silhouette, you know,
Sure.
is similar.
Yeah. It's a good looking bird though.
I also tried to look up pictures of American dipper chicks, and in every single photo that comes up, they are screaming.
Yeah.
In every photo, they're just wide mouthed screaming into the void.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's just what they're like.
Which is most baby birds, right? Most baby birds look like they're wide mouthed. They have fluffs of hair on the side of their or feathers on the side of their head, these kind of precocial feathers or whatever, and they look like Bernie Sanders, you know, with the white hair on the side of their head.
Scrungly.
Yeah.
It's scrungly.
Yes. That's a great word. Thank you. Scrungly. You know, like anyone that has children or has interacted with children in their family anywhere, especially babies, right? That's what they do. They make noise. They beg for food, right? They're cute sometimes.
But there's also a period at the very, very beginning where they haven't grown into the cute yet, and they look a little
Scary.
Yeah, it's a little bit like, I don't think it's supposed to be like that. For like a few like weeks, you're like, I don't think they're supposed to look like that.
they're like all mouth too, right? It's like, and that's one of the cool things about birds is like a lot of them when the babies are born, their mouths, the inside is so bright.
Yeah.
To kind of direct the parents to like put food here, you know, which is a great adaptation. So when they open their mouths, you don't even see anything else. You just see a bunch of mouths sticking out of this little muddy nest on the side of a rock, you know?
Listen, sometimes my kids are all mouth too.
Yeah, same. I've been there. I've gone through lots of packs of fruit snacks in my household. I should start getting some stock and Welch's.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for telling us about American dippers. I
You're
love
very
them.
welcome.
I'm going to go on assignment and go out up into the
Yes.
mountains and try to find some.
Please do.
If for anyone who has been listening and wants to hear more of your voice and hear more of your birding stories and hear more from you and from your podcasting partner, Dexter, could you tell people where to go next? Tell people about the Bird Joy podcast.
Yeah. So Dexter and I went to a Blackbirders retreat in 2022, and we were kind of tasked with, you know, they told us, hey, when you leave here, do something with somebody that was here. And Dexter and I stayed in touch, and Dexter's a professional at University of Wisconsin, a professor, I think, of digital media. And he was like, hey, let's do a podcast about, you know, the joy of finding birds, you know, and bring on different folks that are not typically elevated to the front in this community. So black and brown birders, women. And so we started it, and you can find it on everywhere you get your podcasts. On Instagram, we're at the Bird Joy Pod. And we just wrapped season 3. And so we got a bunch of amazing guests. Looking forward to starting season 4 here in the fall. And if you need to find me on Instagram, I am at the Birding Beardsman, and where I regularly post different bird themed things. Sometimes I'm in videos dancing, if you enjoy that kind of thing, occasionally as the mood strikes me.
You do a dipper dance?
I could actually. Maybe I'll do
dipper-inspired
that
dance?
for us to like release this episode. I like that. Dexter is found at Wisco Birder on Instagram, and I think on TikTok as well. I'm also on the Birding Bearsman at TikTok, but TikTok is a weird place that I'm still trying to navigate and understand. So, and then if you want to find me, if you're around Philly, In Color Birding Club. It's our homies out here. If you ever want to come find some birds out here. We don't have dippers, but we got some other amazing birds out here.
Do you have any favorites? Any local favorites?
Oh, my local favorites. Oof. Probably some of the shorebirds we get. Yeah, so like
nice northern Atlantic shorebird.
Yeah, probably the red knots, which are not. They fly over Philly. They don't necessarily stop here, but we usually drive down to Delaware and see them eating a bunch of horseshoe crab eggs, and they're just their story of their migration and how they put on weight and muscle and everything they need, and I love a good red knot that comes up the East Coast.
Well, if anyone wants to learn more about birds from you, or if they want to go birding with your group or anything like that, I will have links to everything that you just talked about in the episode description. So anybody listening to this can just scroll down and click through and follow you on social media, or, get in touch however way people prefer. Well, Jason, thank you so much for your time and for your love for birds and for, introducing us to this delightful little gentleman. We will talk to you later. Thank you for having a great time with us today.
Thank you, Ellen. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all so much for listening. I hope it's inspired you to dip your toe into the world of bird watching. If you liked what you heard, I hope you leave behind some kind words for us in a review on your podcast app of choice. If you want to hang out with us online, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Links to everything will be in the episode description. You can also send me an email at ellen@justthezooofus.com if you have a cool animal you'd like to hear us talk about on the show. We'd like to thank Maximum Fun for having us on their network alongside their other wonderful shows like the ones that you heard promos for here today. You can go check those out, learn more about the network, and how you can be a part of supporting our show over at MaximumFun.org. Finally, we'd like to thank Louis Zong for our theme music. That's all for today. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
Supported
directly
by you.